Hi there, this is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, the 1st of November, 2025. I hope you're all doing well. Been quite a week, been quite a day. So today, for those of you who don't know, I've been living for years on SNAP, which is the modern name for food stamps, pretty much. And Michael and I were having a hard time as it was because we were living on less than $10 a day that the government was giving us to live on. Now that's gone as of today for me and over 41 million other people. And why? There's two answers. There's the lie that, well, it's the Democrats, but it's not. I hate to get into anything political, but this time it is. So the Republicans control the presidency, the Congress, and the Senate. That's all. And they have a controlling thing in the Supreme Court, who has been pretty much a rubber stamp for this administration 90-something% of the time. Okay? Now then, we go back to 2015, 2016. The current president said back then that if the government shuts down, it is the fault of the president. I'll take him at his word on that. But what it also is in this particular case is what has stalled all of this, and why the government is also shut down is because Democrats refuse to pass forward a bill that hurts the poor in many ways, raises the Affordable Care Act, kind of guts all kinds of Medicare and Medicaid, and funnels all that money to the already spectacularly wealthy. So the Democrats voted no on that, so the government shut down and they refused to open. So that's where we are. And I mean, what do you do? Because you know what? If they capitulated, it would be the same situation, only it would be more permanent. Now they have an option of fixing that today if they want. The president can go, no, bring SNAP back, immediately vote on it, do it, be done. Not happening though. So, dealing with that sucks. We can't do what we can't do. So that's what's going on that level. I'm not going to talk any more about that. Been working away, doing a lot of writing, reading a very interesting book that I will show you right now, which is this Jeremy Renner book, which oddly enough smells like cologne, and I was wondering why it did, and it turns out that, I got it from Amazon, like these corners, evidently cologne in some factory, wherever, some warehouse, spilled on just the corners of this. Maybe it was like that, whatever, and so this book smells like cologne, which is fine. Anyway, Jeremy Renner, who most of us know as Hawkeye, Mayor of Kingston, the guy from The Hurt Locker, all that kind of stuff. And as many of you know, but maybe not all of you know, he almost died in 2023, the first week of January. A 14,000-pound snowcat machine crushed him. He talks in there about how it actually popped his left eyeball out of his head, and he could look with his right eye and see his left eye. Ugh. And it broke over 38 bones in his body. It punctured his lung. It cracked all his ribs and his skull. So it's a fascinating, kind of uneasy read, but it's fascinating. And I'm about a third of the way in. So I've been reading that. Also, I saw a movie this week called The Substance, starring Demi Moore, and it's really rare that I watch a movie with Demi Moore because I've never cared for her as an actress, but she was marvelous in it, as was Andy McDowell's gorgeous daughter. What is her name? Margaret Qualley. And it's a satire, but it's also what they call a body horror film, and it is a horror film. And I know a lot of people that don't watch horror films, and you will find this one particularly disturbing because it is. But it's also a satire. In a way, it reminds me of the old, was it 1980, around there, the movie The Stuff. And that was like a social satire on consumerism and advertising. This one is about women in the spotlight and a culture that skews very young, and once, as Dennis Quaid in it says, once you're 50, it's over. So she plays a successful, Demi Moore plays a successful woman who has a fitness show. I guess you'd say a sort of a neo Jane Fonda, doing her videos, who's suddenly out the door, and then she's given this thing, a USB that says the substance, and from there it gets really freaky, and it ends even freakier. Very, blah, blah, blah. Very well done, but blah, 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 is my review. So I watched that yesterday, Halloween. I hope you all had a good Halloween. No one came here, but I don't know if they came last year. Maybe one person, maybe one of my family members came. That's it. That's okay. So we move forward. Like I said, I got work to do that I'm doing, more to do. I found a really neat, helpful thing for me, which is I need help transcribing stuff because of the problems I have having Dupuytren's contracture and other issues with my hands. So typing is very difficult to do. But I found someone, I did an interview a very interesting way. I emailed someone questions and said, could they send me back like a WAV or an MP3 of it? So what they did is they sent it through Dropbox. And I'm like, oh, of course I have Dropbox. So they sent it, and now there's an option on Dropbox. So they sent me this interview, and it said, transcribe? Who knew? So I clicked yes, and it was like about, I think it was like an hour and 7, the interview. And it transcribed it in under a minute, the entire thing. Yeah, I saw a few things I need to change. I got to work on that during the week, but editing a few words here and there is so much easier than having to. So what I'm going to do is, I had the interview I had done with Derek Schulman, for example, and I'm going to make it into an MP3, which I can do with my little cassette recorder, hook it up to a computer where I have an audio program, make a file of that, and then mail it to myself. And I could do that with so many interviews that I've been wanting to get transcribed, and I just don't have a way. With people that are gone from this world, like Melanie, we did a beautiful long thing that I never got a chance to transcribe, and now I can. Doors open. You never know when a door opens, and you have to have the patience for that and look around for it. So what else? I got a beautiful call from my friend Laura the other day. That was wonderful conversation we had. I talked to my friend Gwen, who I hadn't talked to in too long, and we've known each other, I don't know, something around approaching 40 years, something like that. Very long time. She's down in Florida. She's just a very dear person. And so yeah, and I've been having some other conversations during the week. That's good. I didn't go out anywhere this week. I want to see if I can go out next week. That would be really cool. And again, I hope you're all doing well. This SNAP thing is a big thing. So And I just saw a thing on TV today that's saying that if these programs go through the way that they want them to go through, that it will cost for Michael and I, who don't pay for health care because we're so poor, it will now cost us, between the two of us, $132 a month. Which I know you're all saying that doesn't sound like a lot, John. But you know what? Add that to, we no longer have food money. And now we're going to have to pay for, and now we don't have, it's not like they're going, oh, so like, we're going to really raise your disability. They're not raising my disability a penny as far as I know. So what do I do? Time will tell. See you next week. Love you all. Bye-bye.